Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone today? I want to welcome you to All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church, or as I sometimes like to call it, Zoomitarian Zoomiversalist Church. So glad you're here with us today. If this is your first time visiting, or if you've just been lurking around the edges for a while and feel like it, please feel free to give a shout out in the chat. And Marian, our welcome host today, will greet you privately and make sure that you have access to more information about our congregation. But we're delighted you're here with us today. I have, of course, as always, a few announcements. As always, Tuesdays with Nori happens on a weekly basis now. It's at 5:30 on Zoom, of course, and the link to that is on our website and in the e-letter. So there's all kinds of ways for you to find it. And it's just a great casual time to get together and check in with one another, share any joys or concerns we have, and just, kind of be together. The only thing is you have to bring your own drink this time. But I hope you join us this Tuesday. It's always a lot of fun. We are in the midst, and when I say in the midst, I really mean at the end, allegedly, of our stewardship drive. Living our values, my whole soul is in it. This is a time when we ask our members and friends to make an annual pledge to support All Souls. So Rick's going to put some information up on the screen for that. I know it's weird that it just seems hard to do when we're not in person, but I encourage you to take some time today to do that. You can even take some time during my sermon if you want to do that, to fill out your pledge cards as we continue to commit to living our values with our whole souls in it. And again, just thank you so much for the generosity you've shown through this past unprecedented year with your commitment to All Souls, both financially and being here in services and participating in the adult RE or the small groups. We are more than a building, my friends. We are, in fact, the body of All Souls. So I'm so grateful to be here with you in that endeavor. And another reminder that we received word from the downtown COVID shelter, which is at City Auditorium. They're low on snacks and drinks and big boxes of Kleenex and packets of hot chocolate. So on those snacks and drinks, no glass or metal, please. But if you could just drop those off at the church, we'll make an arrangement to both collect them there, and then they will pick them up the first week of March so that we can help our kin who are experiencing homelessness and also have COVID in the City Auditorium. Coming up next Sunday, the Adult Religious Exploration will be exploring Unitarian Universalist theology. You won't want to miss that. The link for the class is in the e-letter on the website and on Facebook, as always. I was chatting with Phyllis Barron this morning before service. Her computer is not working, and she's just very disappointed she can't be here. So if you want to send a text to her or reach out to her on Facebook and say she was missed, I'm sure she'd really appreciate that. Following the service today, you'll be randomly assigned into little coffee breakout rooms. It's just like a fellowship hour, except without Terry's awesome blend of coffee. But please feel free to take time to chat with others in your room, and it's like a virtual fellowship hour. These are random assignments. However, we do have a special room set up for choir and band members. And finally, if last week I did a service from in Selma, walking from the Brown AME Chapel to and over the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and we redone that part of the service so that I redubbed it so that you could hear me because of the traffic noise, and now the whole video is there. And AB put up the link earlier, maybe he'll do it. There it is right there. Okay. And Heidi says, please see the directions for donating to the shelter in this week's e-letter. So take time to do that. But for now, let's just kind of scroll through the little tiny videos and those non-videos. We know you're still in your pajamas. That's okay. I have my slippers on still. I've never actually worn out a pair of slippers like I'm wearing out this pair of slippers. But it's good to see you all. Tamsin, it's good to see you. And Barb and Sarah Brown, Mr. Harrison, Heidi, Wendy, it's always good to see you. I got to tell you, Sarah Hotzinger, good to see you. Dale, of course, great to see you all. So glad you're all here. We gather here every week. No stinking pandemic can keep us down. We come not in spite of our differences, but to flaunt our diversity. We gather from every socioeconomic stream, race, ethnicity, gender identity, age, ability, height, slipper preference, and we find that we're actually stronger and more fabulous when we can bring all of who we are into this Zoom room and be seen and loved for all of who we are. And that is what makes this sacred space. And that is what makes this holy ground. So let's take a moment and breathe in the divinity of this hour brought here to you by you as I ring the bell.
The reading for our chalice lighting today comes to us from Kimberly Ann Tomzik Carlson. It is not by chance that you arrived here today. You've been looking for something larger than yourself. Inside of you, there's a yearning, a calling, a hope for more, a desire for a place of belonging and caring. Through your struggles, someone nurtured you into being, instilling a belief in a shared purpose, a common yet precious resource that belongs to all of us when we share. And so you began seeking a beloved community, a people that does not put fences around love, a community that holds its arms open to possibilities of love, a heart home to nourish your soul and share your gifts. Well, welcome home. Welcome to worship.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Beth Green, Director of Religious Exploration. Before I share our story for all ages of We Are Together, I have an extra little thing I want to share with you guys today. Beloved community, as you guys know, is our theme of the month. And in RE this month, we did a beloved community art project. So there were 8 kids that participated. And I will kind of explain what they did as I share the screen of the final product. So we had, each child got 2 canvases that had this little paper doll chain template on it. They painted both. They kept one and sent their second to another kid in RE. And of course, so they received one as well. So they had one canvas that they painted and a second one from a friend in RE. And they did such an amazing job. I want to thank them personally. We had Aria, Aleyu, Leah, Emily, Kellen, Melody, Amelia, and Eliza. And the 8 of them did a fantastic job. And it's just a great reminder that we can still be together even when we're apart. And I will be sending a copy of this to the parents as well that their kids kind of took place in. All right, now let me get out of here. Beautiful. All right. So there is our art project. Now time for our story. We Are Together by Britta Teckentrup. And you can see these kind of look like paper dolls as we go through as well. On our own, we're special. We can chase our dream, but when we join up, hand in hand, together, we're a team. We may travel alone, free as birds in the sky, but by flocking together, we soar and we fly. If the storm clouds gather and we're caught in the rain, let's splash through the puddles until the sun shines again. We can change the world with the power of words. Let's all rock the boat so our voices are heard. Hear the song we sing to encourage and inspire. If we all sing together, one voice becomes a choir. We're all walking together on paths as yet unknown, may lead us to places that feel just like home. We're off to climb mountains all the way to the top. Our friends keep us going. They won't let us stop. Embrace all life's colors, each shade, every hue, and life will be brighter whenever you do. When the icy wind blows and winter takes hold, your friends keep you warm so you won't feel the cold. When life is confusing and our way seems unclear, the horizon is distant, but our friends will stay near. At the end of each day, as we watch the night fall, a million bright stars shine down on us all. If we're lonely, we'll just say out loud, let's all stand together, one big happy crowd, but still 6 feet apart for the time. The end.
Community Means Strength by Starhawk. We are all longing to go home to some place we have never been, a place half remembered and half envisioned we can only catch glimpses of from time to time. Community. Somewhere there are people to whom we can speak with passion without having the words catch in our throats. Somewhere a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate with us whenever we come into our own power. Community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter. A circle of healing. A circle of friends. Some place where we can be free.
We've spent the entire month, as Beth said, speaking about beloved community, what it means to be one, how we can strengthen our beloved community. And we talked about that primarily in terms of this beloved community called All Souls. Hopefully, it's a little bit easier to be beloved community within the covenant of our congregation. We are, after all, amongst friends, generally speaking. This doesn't mean that we're all the same. We have different beliefs. We aren't all the same political party. We didn't all vote for the same candidate in the primary and in the general election. But there is a covenant that holds us, that forms our beloved community, that calls us to speak with tenderness and care to one another and about one another. We have our 7 guiding principles as our compass in navigating relationships within this community and in the actions we take outside. Still, beloved community isn't meant to be limited to the boundary of All Souls. Each of our lives is a Venn diagram in which all souls occupies but one shared sector. What does it mean to practice beloved community with our families who are decidedly not like us? With our coworkers who tell racist or misogynistic jokes? What does it mean to practice beloved community with those who, quite frankly, don't want us in their circle? Edwin Markham was a poet best known for his work, The Man with the Hoe. It's a rather long piece that pegged him as a friend to the labor movement, to the common human, the working class person. In 1922, he read his poem, Lincoln, Man of the People, at the dedication of the Lincoln Memorial. It is another long, complicated poem filled with flowery sentiment and turgid emotion. But the poem that people most remember him for today is called Outwitted. In 4 simple lines, he gives us the blueprint for creating beloved community. It goes like this. He drew a circle that shut me out, heretic, rebel, a thing to flout. But love and I had the wit to win. We drew a circle that took him in. Simple, isn't it? Except it's not. If it was, I could solemnly say, may it be so, and the service would end much sooner. I mean, I guess it is that simple and that complicated. Like my mantra for the year, what would love do? It's that simple and complicated. And made even more so with the deepening of the chasm, the polarization of our nation over the past 4 years. I remember a couple of years ago, I wrote in this little quarterly article I do for the Gazette about how even though so many sacred texts from many religions, including Christianity, Judaism, Islam, all on and on, urge us to love one another, to care for the stranger, yet people are still so afraid to do so, so afraid of the other. And people are still so willing to invoke fear of the other, of the refugee, of the immigrant, the ones who don't love like us, the ones who don't look like us. This Wednesday, insert gets delivered to several neighborhoods in the Springs and Woodland Park and Divide. And on that particular edition, I only got 2 responses. Both were vitriolic screeds from people claiming to follow Jesus. One ended hers with Trump 2020. And I thought, where is the love in that? Where is the beloved community? Love calls us to draw wide the circle. That's how we win. A circle drawn wide enough for all is one that calls each of us to our highest selves. What love would do would be to gently teach us and guide us, as our sermon response of the month says, to being the best version of ourselves that we can be. And that means letting go of behaviors and words that demean others. Well, and here's the tricky point. At the same time, drawing a circle wide enough for those who would demean us, those who are racist, misogynistic, conspiracy believers. We're called to draw a circle wide enough that takes them in. Of course, many times they won't join us. I saw this funny meme on Facebook that said, after the pandemic, I still want some of you to stay away from me. I thought, well, that's true. But so many times they won't join us, but we still have to have the circle ready, right? I have a family member, a close family member who hasn't spoken to me in 15 months, ever since I asked her, and I believe I asked gently if she could just tell me why she still supported Trump. I said, from my perspective, I didn't think he was fit to lead, but she was my family member and I love and trust her. And I just wanted to hear her perspective so I could understand. And her response was to block me on Facebook and to not take my calls or return my emails or call me on my birthday or accept my call on hers. It's painful. It's not the response I expected. I asked her because I wanted to have an authentic conversation with her. I wanted to invite her into my circle. I genuinely wanted to have an authentic relationship. I figured our relationship can withstand arguing and disagreement and even name calling if she wanted to do that and saying it's none of my business. But the complete wall of silence has almost undone me. And I have to say, I'm tempted sometimes to say, fine, I'll disown you too. How do you like that? You're so selfish and stubborn. But that's not what love would do. And so I stand, hopefully, in this circle that's large enough for her in my life, even though it seems she's shrunk her circle to keep me out. Sometimes drawing the circle wide is all we can do, and then wait to see if they'll join us. But sometimes, this is often the case, we have people already in our circles whom we love and who love us, but they don't share our values or live out the concern for their kin and our planet. I read an article recently that says there's been a deep rift in many families over Trumpism, as it's now come to be known. Those who support and believe Trump still, and those who do not. There really hasn't been this level of families being driven apart by ideology in this country since the Civil War. Think of that. It's crazy. What do we do with those people in our circle? Author Stephen King suggests, so you have family and friends who voted for Trump? He says, stay connected, stay friendly. If they talk about a conspiracy theory, calmly say, actually, that's a lie, and explain why. It's a different solution than what I see often on Facebook and what, particularly after the election of 2016. What I see there is if you're opposed to this or for that, then unfriend me now. And I confess, I probably shared that meme myself after the 2016 election, but it's so common and cheap. And I don't know, it doesn't seem to have a lot of pizzazz in it just to say, unfriend me if you don't agree with me. The fact is, I love my family member who voted for Trump and disowned me. Honestly, frankly, if I could do it over, I don't think I would have said anything. And if one day she just starts relating to me, I'll be happy to just accept it without any further conversation. I mean, really. I don't know that it was worth losing a relationship over. So stay friendly, connected, and gently use the antidote of truth. Another important step to take is to recognize that you're grieving a loss, whether or not you're still talking, you're grieving a loss of who you thought they were. So be gentle with yourself and be sure to have plenty in your circle of love who share your values and love you. I had hoped this type of estrangement and conflict would disappear after the 2020 election, but that doesn't seem to be the case. One important thing the 2016 election brought to light is the level of deeply embedded racism and misogyny and transphobia and refugee and immigrant phobia that exists in the deepest crevices of our nation. Many of those of us with lighter skins were shocked. Our bubble was burst. The BIPOC community, Black, Indigenous, people of color community, was not shocked. It's a bad news, good news kind of thing. Bad news, our nation is really, really dependent on white supremacy. Good news, now that it's exposed, we can see where we need to do the work. Again, it's difficult to know how to confront racism. Most people want to know how to be an accomplice for marginalized communities, but what do you do in the moment? What do you do when grandpa tells a racist joke, makes a disparaging comment about queer folk at Thanksgiving dinner? Most of us miserably sit in silence. Others of us might stand up, eyes blazing, and say, I cannot stay at the table with this racist. Neither one is very effective. Loretta J. Ross, who's a visiting professor at Smith College, has another idea. She's a 67-year-old African-American activist. She's been an activist in civil rights her entire adult life, and she's teaching a class called White Supremacy in the Age of Trump, in which she challenges the calling out model and suggests we practice calling in. According to a New York Times article, calling out assumes the worst. Calling in involves conversation, compassion, and context. It doesn't mean a person should ignore harm, slight, or damage, but nor should she, he, or they exaggerate it. She said, I don't have a trigger warning on my class. If you need trigger warnings, you probably shouldn't be in my class. She said, every time somebody disagrees with me, it's not verbal violence. I'm not getting re-raped. Overstatement of harm is not helpful when you're trying to create a culture of compassion. I think a recent example of that is when, and I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago too, is that when that editorial came out saying, Dr. Joe Biden, please drop the doctor, you know, you're not a real doctor. And somebody on Twitter said, let's all of us with doctorates put that in our social media names. And I thought immediately, what a great thing to do, just to raise awareness of actually women have doctorates and in a lot of different fields. But immediately the backlash, the calling out was, oh, great. So now I have to feel even worse for not having a higher education. And I just on. And I didn't do it. I'm like, ooh, I don't want to be called out on that. Professor Ross thinks call out culture has taken conversations like that could once have been learning opportunities and turned them into mud wrestling on message boards, YouTube comments, Twitter, and at colleges like Smith, where proving one's commitment to social justice has become something of a varsity sport. She says, I have to honestly ask, why are you making choices to make the world crueler than it needs to be and calling that being woke? The antidote to that outrage cycle, Professor Ross believes, is calling in. Calling in is like calling out, but done privately and with respect. She says it's a call out done with love. That may mean simply sending someone a private message or even calling them up on the telephone to discuss the matter, or simply taking a breath before commenting, screenshotting, or demanding one do better without explaining how. And maybe that might mean taking grandpa aside after dinner and calmly saying, this was offensive to me and why. And I would appreciate it if you not do that anymore. I think it's a powerful choice to make. We remain committed to not letting bias or vile rhetoric go unchecked, but we value the relationship overall. We draw a circle of compassion, context, conversation. We refuse to see anyone as, pardon the pun, in black and white, as either good or evil. Instead, we see the complexities that color our lives. And just like the children in RE, we share ourselves with one another, share our own colorful lives with one another, making a circle of love that has room for imperfection, that holds out the possibility of change, of healing, of hope. That's how we create beloved community. That's how love and you and me win. May it be so. Please join with me in our sermon response song.
No, it's love will guide us. Oh. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Our offertory reflection comes from Edward Everett Hale. I am only one, but still, I am one. I cannot do everything, but still, I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. We now have an opportunity to share of our financial resources. Instructions for giving via text, online, or with a check will be on the next screen and in the chat.
Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. No one stands alone, we'll stand side by side. Draw the circle wide.
Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. No one stands alone, we stand side by side. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song, I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
Powerful song. Thank you so much, Mark, for making that happen. A little shout out for those of you who weren't able to fulfill your dream of being a backup singer on our song from last week, Put a Little Love in Your Heart. We're doing it again for our congregational meeting, so there's still time to be a backup singer on it. It's a lot of fun. I hope you will do that. Our closing words for today, as we prepare to extinguish our chalice and go out into our communities. Kathleen Brandon said in the chat, she's reminded of the AME Church in Charlottesville, Charleston, that opened its circle wide in 2015 and lost 9 members of their community that day to a racist murder. Drawing the circle wide, it can be dangerous, but it's always necessary, and they do continue to be a beacon. Our closing words by Dave Breeden: may I be all in for beloved community. May I be all in despite the challenges. May I be all here for beloved community. May I be ready for the beauty because I long for the possibilities. Yes, I am here for beloved community. May I see the beauty of you in community, of us in community. May we be the beauty of beloved community. May we be the dream together. As we extinguish our chalice and go out in the world, may we continue to be all in, even when it's hard, even when it's difficult, even when it's uncomfortable. That our little paper doll hands stretch around and hold one another and keep one another lifted up. Please join with me in singing the Extinguishing the Chalice song.
Now, as we leave this place, the chalice dims, but the fire stirs within our hearts. Beyond these doors, now as we leave this place, memories of each and every face carry us into the world, and we will return, for now we know that something greater than anything inside is part of us as we leave this place.
Once again, don't forget to fill out your pledge for the upcoming year. It's July through June, so the pledge you'll be filling out will begin in July. And thank you for continuing to make your payments for this year's pledge. Appreciate you so much. And now, thanks to all of you who helped with the service. Mark, Kathleen, Sherry, Pam, Beth, Robert, Stan, AB, Kathy, me, Rick, Schwartz, Joe, and special thanks to the choirs of High Plains Unitarian Universalist Church and All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church. What a fabulous job. And thanks to each of you for being here today. It means a lot that we can continue to gather together and feel the warmth and love and spirit of this congregation, even when we're not in the same space. So thanks for being here. In just a few moments, we will go into the breakout rooms. If you don't want to, you can simply leave the meeting. But first, let's enjoy the postlude that Sharon has chosen for us. We were having the run through yesterday and we played a little portion of the video. Beth Green said, I'm only in my 30s, so I just need to check this out. Did he always dress like a captain? And the answer is, well, yes, he did. But what a great song and a great service. Thanks so much to all of you for being here. I'm going to stick you in your breakout rooms now. Hope to see you at Tuesdays with Nori or next week as well. Love you lots.